In this lecture, we are going to discuss rationalizing requirements. And if this is the first time that you're seeing that phrase, that's okay. It was the first time I had seen it as well. We're going to define that in just a moment. After we define rationalizing requirements, we're going to discuss commonalities and outliers. And so what does the term rationalizing requirements mean? Well, if you think back to the second half of Domain 1, you'll remember that we have laws, regulations, and policies, as well as a number of different frameworks located throughout the entire world. And different jurisdictions are going to have different laws, regulations, and frameworks. And so what we're looking to do when we rationalize requirements is to implement a solution that satisfies multiple policies, laws, and regulations. And so instead of catering our approach to each different jurisdiction, for example, if we operate in 3 different jurisdictions, we typically don't want to have 3 different policies. Instead, we would do our best to harmonize the requirements from those 3 jurisdictions and have one policy that satisfies the requirements in all 3 jurisdictions. And so, for example, if we think about data breach incident response programs or plans, we would have one timeline that meets all data protection regime timelines. And often the best way to do that is to apply the strictest standard universally. And so let's say, for example, jurisdiction A has a timeline of 60 days, jurisdiction 2 has a timeline of 45 days, and jurisdiction C has a timeline of 30 days. Then we can rationalize these requirements by providing notification for all individuals, regardless of where they reside, within 30 days. And so again, with that example of 60, 45, 30, 30 is the strictest, and so we apply 30 everywhere. Now, as you'll remember again from the second half of Domain 1, we saw that there are many laws, regulations, and policies that have overlapping requirements. And many of those requirements are going to originate from the FIPS, again, the Fair Information Practices or the Fair Information Practice Principles. And some of those requirements are notice, for example. When we're collecting personal data from data subjects, we're going to provide them all with notice at the point of collection. Similarly, we want individuals to consent to our collection of their data. We want to give them choice. And we also, as an organization, want to practice purpose limitation, meaning that we are going to use the data only for the stated purpose. We are not going to turn around and use it for a secondary or tertiary use. So again, because many jurisdictions have overlapping requirements, they have many commonalities, that makes rationalizing requirements in many regards very straightforward. In addition to commonalities, however, there are also going to be outliers. And these outliers are going to be requirements that you only find in specific jurisdictions. And so again, this would be a requirement that falls outside of a larger framework. And this may be a specific local law or industry or sector specific requirement. In this lecture, we have discussed rationalizing requirements. Again, rationalizing requirements means that we are implementing a solution that satisfies multiple policies, laws, and regulations. Many jurisdictions have overlapping requirements, and we refer to these as commonalities. And of course, every now and then there are also going to be outliers. These are going to be requirements that fall outside of the larger framework.